Imagine a tank that weighs as much as 300 modern passenger cars. A machine that doesn't just drive on the road, but turns asphalt into dust, and any ground into an impassable swamp. A tank that cannot cross a single bridge in Europe because it would simply crush it. This is not fiction. In the history of warfare, there were moments when engineering genius lost the battle to pure, primal madness. Dictators and generals dreamed of steel fortresses capable of deciding the outcome of world conflicts single-handedly. They believed that the bigger the gun and the thicker the armor, the closer the victory. But reality, as it often does, proved much harsher than the laws of physics. In March 2026, when drone swarms and precision-guided missiles control the battlefield, these steel monsters seem to us like extinct dinosaurs. But the fascination with them will never fade. Today on Maxi Five, we are diving into the world of land titans. We will break down the 5 largest tanks ever created by man, from a 3-story high wheeled beast from World War I that got stuck on its very first trial, to a land cruiser weighing 1,000 tons that remained a blueprint but managed to terrify the Allies. We'll find out why size didn't save these machines from oblivion, and how megalomania destroyed their creators, turning ambition into the world's most expensive scrap metal. This is a story of steel, power, and a technical dead end. Fasten your seatbelts. We are starting. In 5th place is the tallest and perhaps the most absurd tank in world history. Russia, 1915. While the rest of the world was painfully trying to get tracks to work in the mud, engineer Nikolai Lebedenko decided, why bother with tracks when we can build a giant bicycle? His creation, officially named the Netopia, resembled a circus attraction more than a war machine. Just think about these numbers. The diameter of the front wheels was 9 meters. That is the height of a 3-story building. The total width of the machine was 12 meters, and its weight exceeded 60 tons. A crew of 15 people was stationed in the central cabin and side sponsons, armed with cannons and machine guns. The idea was bold. The massive wheels were supposed to literally step over trenches, craters, and fallen trees. But the designers made a fatal error in calculating the center of gravity.
During the very first trial in a forest outside Moscow, the small rear wheel, only 1.5 meters in diameter, immediately sank into the soft soil right up to the hub. 250 horsepower Maybach engines, incredible power for that time, roared and belched black smoke, but couldn't move this steel spider an inch. The tank was left to rot in the forest until 1923, terrifying the locals until it was finally scrapped.
Fourth place goes to the Char 2C, the only super heavy tank in history that wasn't just a blueprint, but actually served in the military. The French built it as a quote zero, following the nightmare of trench warfare. It was a true land battleship, over 10 meters long, 4 meters high, and weighing a massive 69 tons for the 1920s. Inside this steel rail car was a crew of 12 people, including a dedicated electrician and 2 mechanics who tended to the 2 Maybach engines, which were war trophies, by the way. To give you an idea of the quote one, it was so loud inside that the crew communicated via laryngophones, and the massive turret with its 75mm gun featured the world's first stroboscopic observation system. However, this giant became a hostage to its own mass. It was too big for regular roads, and transporting it required special railway platforms. In 1940, as the Wehrmacht began its lightning-fast offensive, a train carrying 6 of these tanks got stuck due to destroyed tracks. The French, realizing their secret machines must not fall into enemy hands, blew them up themselves. France's most powerful tank ended its career as a pile of scorched metal, without ever engaging the enemy in combat. Taking the bronze is the German K-Wagen of 1918. This was Germany's response to the British, quote, zero tanks, and it was meant to be devastating. While British tanks weighed around 30 tons, The German project aimed for an incredible 120 tons. It was a mobile bunker with up to 30 millimeters of armor, making it virtually invulnerable to the anti-tank guns of the time. The crew of this monster consisted of 27 people, essentially an entire infantry company inside one machine. It housed two 650 horsepower engines, but even they weren't enough to push this behemoth faster than 7 kilometers per hour. Due to its monstrous dimensions, nearly 13 meters long and 6 meters wide, it was impossible to transport the K-Wagen in one piece. The plan was to deliver it to the front in sections across 6 railway platforms and assemble it in special workshops behind the lines. By the end of the war, the Germans had nearly completed 2 prototypes, but Germany's defeat ended the project. The Allies, horrified by the machine's scale, ordered both specimens destroyed immediately. The world never saw this steel island crawling across battlefields, spitting fire from its 477mm cannons. The silver goes to the legendary Maus, the heaviest tank ever physically built. Ferdinand Porsche created a machine weighing 188 tons, 3 times heavier than a modern Abrams or Leopard. Imagine a steel cube with frontal turret armor of 240 millimeters. Even today, very few anti-tank guns can penetrate such a plate with a direct hit. The Maus was intended to be an invulnerable mobile pillbox, slowly but inevitably crushing any defensive line while ignoring return fire. But there was a staggering price for this invincibility. To prevent this monster from sinking into the earth up to its turret roof, engineers developed a unique chassis with tracks 1.1 meters wide. Even that wasn't enough. The tank instantly turned any road into an impassable mud pit, and crossing bridges was strictly forbidden. No bridge in mid-20th century Europe could handle such a concentrated load. To cross rivers, Porsche devised a complex scheme. The tanks would cross the riverbed in pairs, while one tank stayed on the bank, providing electric power via a long cable. The second one, fully sealed, would travel underwater, controlled remotely. Fuel consumption was apocalyptic, about 3,500 liters per 100 kilometers off-road. To put that in perspective, a short 100-kilometer trip would require an entire railway tanker of diesel. Ultimately, as Soviet troops approached the testing grounds, the Germans blew up both prototypes. What you see today in the Kubinka Tank Museum is the world's only Maus, assembled from the hull of one unit and the turret of another. It is the ultimate monument to how megalomania completely kills common sense. And finally, our list leader. A project that makes the Maus look like a dwarf. The Landkreuzer P1000 Ratte. Weight, a staggering 1,000 tons. This isn't just a tank, it's a land cruiser 35 meters long and as high as a 4-story building. Hitler personally approved this project, inspired by the idea of a massive platform armed with 2 280mm guns taken from the battleship Gneisenau. To move this monster, the plan was to use 8 20-cylinder marine diesels with a combined output of 16,000 horsepower. Inside the Ratte, there was to be a full crew compartment for 20 people, repair workshops, weeks of supplies, and even a garage for 2 BMW reconnaissance motorcycles. The tank was to feature 3 tracks on each side, with a total width of over 7 meters. The mere sight of such a behemoth on the horizon would have caused mass panic. However, in 1943, the project was cancelled. Why? Because the Ratte would have been visible from the air for tens of kilometers, making it an easy target for bombers. And its weight would have turned any attempt to travel cross-country into digging massive trenches. The Ratte remains in history as the pinnacle of technical madness, an attempt to bring naval warfare to dry land. These steel giants are clear proof of one simple truth. In war, victory goes not to the biggest, but to the most efficient. Today, their place in the sky has been taken by drone swarms, and on the ground by high-precision missiles, which we discussed in our episode on the warfare technologies of 2026. Megalomania turned out to be a dead end, but it was this very madness that gave us the most incredible engineering solutions of its time. If you thought the Maus's fuel consumption of 3,000 litres was insane, then you definitely need to watch our previous video on the top 5 V12 hypercars. There, we broke down machines that cost millions of dollars, not for armour, but for pure sound and speed. Believe me, the engineering behind a Pagani or a Ferrari is just as impressive as the power of a quote, 0, __. But now, I want to hear from you. Which of these monsters seems the most absurd to you, and which is the most fearsome? Would you risk driving the quote, 1, even for a few meters? Let me know in the comments. I read everything and love debating the steel madness of the past with you. Hit that like button if you found this breakdown useful, and subscribe to Maxi Five so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll look into the future and break down the top high-tech homes that can be built in just 48 hours. Thanks for watching until the end. Stay stronger than your circumstances, and see you in the tomorrow.